Hello, Spartans, and welcome to 2Dudes Review. I'm your humble commander, Commander Trayvon. With me today is my lieutenant, cadet, or private, Spencer.
You can't just give me, like, one title.
Anyway, moving on. Today we have for you Apotheon. Spencer shall cover the multiplayer, we'll give you our pros and cons on it, and then we'll go over to the single player, and then give you a final recommendation for the game.
Are you going to be talking like that throughout the entire thing?
Aye, matey.
Now you're a pirate.
Tip of the morning to ya.
Okay. Anyways, continue on. So yeah, we'll take off with the pros and start off with the pros and cons of the multiplayer. So basically, it's really unique controls. You're basically using the joysticks to control the character's movement as well as their aim. Especially when you're throwing weapons or yielding a bow and arrow. There's a variety of weapons from this time period. You can even use vases and even actually use the chandeliers to knock them down. Basically, hits your opponent. Basically, put them on fire and watch them burn into oblivion.
Aye, matey. You have to use your environment in the 1v1 multiplayer mode. You can use your environment to harm your opponent just as much as you can use your weapons. Like you said, bows and arrows, swords, spears, javelins, and the little flying, flaming chandeliers above you.
Yes, but don't forget the stones.
Yeah, even though there's a variety of weapons, I find that the lack of precision in the controls. The joysticks, although they make it easy to play the game, it's hard to really hit the specific part of your opponent you want. If they're blocking mid, it's hard to really go high. Sometimes the game registers it as a mid or low hit, and sometimes you miss them completely outright when they're right in front of you. And then don't even get me started on using a bow and arrow with this kind of imprecision, man.
I didn't mind the bow and arrow. I just didn't like when you have like a melee weapon, right? And you're using it, and basically like you have to charge it up for a long range throw. I don't find that fair because like, especially if you're wielding a bow and arrow and I have like a sword, and I'm trying to throw it at you, you automatically get a shot off. And then for me, I gotta like long range that, and I have to control like how far the distance has to be in order for it to hit you. I did like the maps though. You get 4 unique maps, each with their own set of platforms basically that you can use to your advantage, whether you're taking the high ground or you're shooting at them from a low perspective. There's a cool soundtrack. It really makes you feel like you're actually into the game. What I didn't really like about the game was there wasn't enough maps, even though the 4 maps that we got were unique. There's really little to no modifiers. You can change to set the settings as just bow and arrows only, only melee weapons,
or just normal with both melee and bow and arrow. And I agree, actually. Granted, the 4 maps that they offer you, you do need to study your terrain well and master them. But it's a quick mastery because with only 4 maps, you'll be playing each one often. Yeah, essentially.
I did like though that it was actually zoomed out, so you can actually see the full map, so you kind of know where you're going, and it's not like, how do I end up in this area? How do I get out of it?
But with that, even though it zooms out, the camera does seem to favor the first player. Yeah. So when you have someone backing up, if they're first player, the camera will tend to follow them instead of the second player. But that's enough of the multiplayer. On to the single player now. It's actually reminiscent of a Metroidvania game, but with that, the imprecise controls just carry right over and makes it that much more difficult to play. And especially if you're going up against large enemies like Zeus and other gods, it just makes it very difficult to target the specific area you want to hit them, especially if they're blocking.
But you can't lie, Zeus is rocking an amazing bod right now. He's got that summer bod going.
Oh yeah, and then I thank that to the distinct Greek art style, which is, in my opinion, that's the main draw of this game. If you're into really cool graphics and really cool art, this game's for you. So, final recommendation?
Yeah, I recommend this at a discount price. I don't recommend getting it at full price. It is a fun game to play with a friend. The story mode, even though it is unique and gets straight to the point, I still recommend you getting it even if it's on free on the PlayStation Store, or if it's recommended at like 10% off or something like that.
I agree. I recommend picking this game up in favor of the gods and not in favor of your wallet.
Lastly, thank you guys so much for coming on to 2Dudes Review. Stay tuned for more. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
And may the gods be ever in your favor.